What's up, guys? That Gamer Guy 82 here with another review. I know I posted on my Facebook and my Twitter that I was going to do 3 videos this week, so this is the second one. New review for Metal Gear Solid Revengeance, or as I like to call it, Ride and May Cry. So, booyah! Don't have the game case because GameFly doesn't work like that. So there it is. So, 4-point review as usual. We're going to talk about the story, we're going to talk about gameplay, and we're going to talk about the music, and other things. It doesn't have a music graphics. It doesn't have a multiplayer, so I'm not going to put that obviously. So the spoiler-free rundown of the story is you play Raiden, obviously, and he's a superpowered cybernetic ninja, as you may have seen in Metal Gear Solid 4, where he comes and just totally wrecks face and all badass. So anyway, so this story is about him, and he's basically with this Secret Service-esque type group that basically makes sure that everyone in the world is safe and protected from uh, terrorists and things like that. So that's kind of where the story kicks off. There's a group, there's a radical group of these cybernetic soldiers that are basically trying to kickstart the war economy by causing a war between Pakistan and America. So you as Raiden, you're basically trying to halt that, essentially. So that's pretty much the story. That's like basic without spoiling anything, because as you know, Metal Gear Solid games always have a boatload of story-driven content, so I don't want to ruin anything for you. Gameplay, actually, and this is the reason why I call it Ride and May Cry, is because it plays just like Devil May Cry, in my opinion. It is a button masher, so you hit square or X if you're on 360 a whole bunch of times. You slash your sword. You can hit the L bumper or L1 to go into blade time, which basically allows you to cut anything you want into as many pieces as you want, which is actually pretty cool. The physics engine when you're like slicing things to bits is actually really well done. Also, there's a lot of exploration, a lot of things to find, a lot of hidden items, things like that. But honestly, once you get capped in your item limit, it all just turns into battle points, which you can spend on new abilities and power-ups and upgrades and stuff like that. So, but yeah, the gameplay is actually pretty solid. Very fun. Kept me wanting to play, so that's pretty cool. That's a plus. Music, actually, probably the best part of the game, honestly. When you're in a boss fight, there's these rock songs that are going on, and it plays basically, it kind of loops depending on how long you take to beat the boss. And then when you actually complete the fight, the song kind of wraps up and it moves on, so it just doesn't like turn off or something like that. It kind of wraps itself up in a kind of a clean way. But yeah, it was pretty sweet. You're in the fight, and I have my Turtle Beaches on, so the music's coming right through my headphones, so I'm just kind of jamming out. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, pretty good music. Other than that, though, pretty generic Metal Gear music, very, very orchestra-driven. Yeah, so graphics, as I said, kind of touched on it. The physics engine when you're slicing people up, very, very cool, very accurate, I guess. The atmosphere kind of repeats itself, in my opinion. It kind of looks a little generic. You're outside, you can see stuff in like clouds and mountains and stuff in the background. You go into a building, it kind of looks very similar to the last building you were in. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more diversity in the areas that you go to. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's it's a PS3 360 game, so you're gonna have the graphics at a certain standard. So there's that. So yeah, final thoughts before I give my final review. I would say that Metal Gear Solid Revengeance is very similar to Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. For those who haven't played Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII, the way that they did it is it's still in the universe, so it's still in the Metal Gear franchise, with Raiden and you know, things like that. They make mentions to names from the previous Metal Gear games, but it's not really canon per se. It's just kind of a side story, kind of a side thing where you get to play as, you know, one of your most or least favorite characters, and then it's all them. It's kind of like Dirge of Cerberus, where you were playing Vincent through the entire time, and it was a different kind of game. Whereas Final Fantasy VII was a turn-based RPG, Dirge of Cerberus was a third-person shooter, with some upgrade and level up elements, but for the most part, it was a completely different game outside of the franchise, but still in the same universe, if that makes sense. Um, and I like Dirge of Cerberus, and I know I'm one of like 5 people who probably did, but I liked it. Just like I liked Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. It's a quick game, very fun, very action-packed. You know, so I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. The only thing I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of was varied environments, and you know, just not so much of just point A, point B. It was very linear. I would have liked to have areas to explore, to kind of, you know, do some other things. So anyway, that's it. That's the review. Check back next week. Well, actually, I'm going to take a 2-week hiatus because, or actually, no, 1 week. I keep forgetting what day it is. Next review is going to be BioShock Infinite, and I will be getting that for the 360, so all my fans out there can be like, oh, he does actually play 360 games. So I will be getting that for the 360, and I'm going to be checking that out. From everything I'm hearing so far, it sounds amazing, so I'm really excited about that. So if nothing else, I will see you guys with a new review next week.